All right, everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Bob Vance with Home Remodeler SEO. And I first want to say thank you for everyone joining in today. We're going to be talking about Google Maps and how to get your home improvement or remodeling business ranked on the Google Map section in your area. I'm super excited to bring you this training because of how important this topic is. It's part of our bigger series on how to implement your overall marketing strategy for 2023. Google Maps marketing is part of our overall digital dominance method. If you've been watching our previous workshops, as part of your overall marketing strategy, you start with your website and getting it optimized for the search engines. You work on building your 5-star reputation, and then Google Maps marketing should be a big part of that strategy. And then beyond that, you have paid ads strategies, retargeting, social media, etc. So today we're going to focus on that Maps marketing aspect. So who am I and why should you pay attention to me? I'm a recovering home remodeler and real estate investor who decided to put my computer expertise to use helping other business owners grow their companies with digital marketing. I'm the author of Internet Marketing for Contractors and Builders, How to Triple Your Sales by Leveraging the Power of Online Marketing. I'm also a member of the NAHB and the Denver HBA, as well as NARI and the National Kitchen and Bath Association. Self-admittedly, I'm a computer geek that started coding way back in the day, and now I'm widely accepted as a leading expert when it comes to internet marketing for builders, contractors, and remodelers. And that's because we've worked with contractors and remodeling businesses all across the country. So before we get started today, I want to ask you to give your undivided attention. How to rank on Google Maps is an extremely important topic for your home improvement or remodeling business. And I know how busy every business owner is, and everyone nowadays has so much going on. You have your cell phone probably sitting right in front of you. You probably have multiple tabs open on your computer's browser like I always do. Probably have your email open, and yet you're still trying to listen into a training like this, which makes it really hard to focus, and it's hard to get the most value out of this webinar. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead, turn off your cell phones, turn off Facebook, put aside those distractions. If you are a home improvement and remodeling business that's serious about growing your sales, getting ranked on Google Maps is the way to take your home improvement or remodeling business to that next level. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to go back and look at the latest changes that's happening in 2023 with Google Maps listings. Google's constantly changing, so I'm going to talk about what's changed in the latest updates on Google Maps. I'm going to talk about the 5 biggest issues that could be preventing you from ranking. These are a lot of things that worked in the past and aren't working today, and it's good for you to think about and realize, okay, wait a minute, that's not effective anymore. Now I know why I might be losing rankings, or why call volume is dropping off, or why I slipped off page 1 and I'm not ranking today. Also, I'm going to unpack our proven model for getting ranked on Google Maps in the top 3 listings. Who cares if you're on Google Maps on page 6 or page 7? Because the lion's share of the searches happen on page 1, and that's where over 90% of phone calls come from. And I'm going to share with you the tools and systems to help automate the heavy lifting here. I'm going to explain our proven strategy, and then I'm going to share with you some tools to automate all this for you so that you're not having to stitch this all together, one citation at a time, one review at a time. Here at Home Remodeler SEO, we've had the opportunity to work one-on-one with numerous home improvement and companies, builders and remodeling companies all throughout the country. We've been able to dive into their company, see their values, their goals, and to really jump into their online marketing strategy and to help them grow from having virtually no placement online into Google search results to the point where they are now dominating their local markets. Many of our client partners have seen over $1 million increase in revenue and even more as a direct result of our services. And I say all this so that you know what I'm going to be sharing with you isn't based on a book that I read somewhere. It's not based on untested theory. It's based on real world experience working with home improvement and remodeling companies just like yours. Most of us are of the mind that you want to learn from someone that actually has done what they're teaching and can actually show you real examples and proof of that knowledge and expertise. So let's dive into training and talk about why Google Maps are so important for your online marketing success. When someone runs a search on Google, they see so many different results. You see the paid ad listings at the top, and then below that, you have the Google Map listings. And then finally, there are the Google organic listings toward the bottom. So the question becomes, does it even matter whether you rank on the Google Map? Is that even the place that people are looking now? We did some heat map studies, and we actually found that the lion's share of the clicks go to the Google Map listings. A heat map is where we record the screen and follow along as somebody is moving their mouse around the page, and where they spend most of their time with that mouse, where they click, and all that activity shows up on the heat map. And it helps us figure out where people are searching and what parts of the page attract the most attention. Are people clicking this area, or are they clicking some other area? And then what really makes the biggest difference in that user behavior when it comes to converting those people into people that are reaching out to you and potentially becoming clients for you. If you look at the results, 44% of the clicks went to the local map listings in total, and 20% clicked on the paid links. 8% clicked on view more businesses in order to see more of those local companies and maps, and 30% clicked on the organic listings. Obviously, that's a pretty even distribution. Some people are clicking organic, so you want to have SEO employed on your website, like I talked about in our latest webinar workshop last month. Some people are clicking on paid listings, and so you want to have the pay-per-click strategy in place that makes sure that you're dominating and that you're showing up in your area. But ultimately, the number one place that users are clicking are on those maps listings. That's why this is so important. And that's why we're spending a full webinar workshop just talking about Google Maps as its own individual marketing strategy. A couple big changes that have happened over the last couple of years with Maps. First of all, understand that Google Maps listings are very geo-based, meaning that your location is important. You can't simply say, I want to rank in all these other cities if those cities have higher competition, especially. Google is now also starting to serve pay-per-click listings in that Maps section. And they have expanded with Google Home services in most markets by now, somewhat depending on your exact services, as well as the keywords being used in the search itself. And to be featured in the Google Local Services ad listings, or what some people call Google Guaranteed ads, you need to complete an advanced verification process that we'll be talking a little bit more about. So why Maps listings are so important. Here's a search for a remodeler in Boise, Idaho, random search here. And all you see are the local service ads at the top. And then the Google 3-pack map listings are displayed quite prominently here. This means that they're going to catch most people's attention, especially with those shiny review stars. It's this attraction and front and center display that helps Google Maps listings provide such an opportunity for attracting new businesses if you're one of those companies in the top 3 results. Most marketing studies have reported that's where approximately 62 to 65% of all calls are coming from. That's pretty significant. However, if you are not in the top 3, or maybe you're in the 4th or 5th spot, you're going to notice a relatively large drop-off in lead flow. That's a huge impact on local businesses, as Google switched years ago, going from the 7-pack to now they're down to just showing 3 listings in the Google Maps on page 1 called the 3-pack. Google's now showing ad results within Google Maps results as well. That's a big game changer. So if you go to view more results and you're just looking at the Maps area itself in your market, a lot of times you're going to see paid ad listings up along the top. And that's important because it's really showing the synergy between pay-per-click, Google AdWords, Google Maps, and SEO. You want to be showing up in all the places that your competitors are looking. Before the advent and popularity of Google Maps, it used to be organic results got 100% of the clicks. Now Google pay-per-click and Google AdWords are starting to come into those listings at the top there. And so you want to pay attention to that trend and be aware, because who knows, maybe Google starts to serve 4 or 5 paid listings in the map results. This will have a huge impact. And so you just want to be aware of that trend and how it might impact your home improvement or remodeling business down the road. Now, remember, Google in an ideal world would love to monetize their entire search engine and be able to charge for every single click that they're getting. And Google Maps right now is not doing that for them. The other thing that's changed, and this is the move to Google local home service ads, those Google guaranteed ads. If I go to Google right now and I typed in Los Angeles Remodeling Company, like I have here, Google is now showing their own sponsored local service ads. And just to note, it's going to be different for everyone based on your area and whether Google has rolled out local service ads for your specific industry, your specific services, and like I said, the keywords that people use. And so when I ran this search from this screenshot just this week, you should notice that the local service ads dominate at the top of the page. Then there are the paid ads, that the pay-per-click section. Then finally, the map section are there. And then below that, you finally get the Google organic results on the page. This area right here at the top is what they call Google local services, Google local home services, Google guaranteed ads. Kind of you hear a mismatch of different names there. This is more of the pay-per-leads type of service, though, kind of like Home Advisor, Angie, those type of services, but instead they're powered by Google. It's important to know how these ads work and to determine if this is an additional lead source for your business. We see these ads working very well, but it also depends highly on your sales and follow-up processes as well. These local service ads should be in most markets by now, but for most of you that it's not in your market, just pay attention because that might be where we're headed and you want to be out in front of this opportunity. The first step is you have to have an advanced verification process. That's where Google is really vetting you and giving you a Google Home Services guarantee where the customer has nothing to lose. And Google is essentially going to underwrite your services to guarantee your services, in other words. So in order to play in the Google Home Services ads, you have to have an advanced verified listing through Google Home Services. Google will run a background check on your company, powered through a security company called Pinkerton. You also have to have a real physical location. So you can't play in Google Home Services with a PO box or a virtual office listing that's been flagged by Google already. So that's the initial process to get involved with Google local service ads. If you have not done this, you can go to ads.google.com/local service ads with the hyphens in there. So here is some of what they're asking for. This is straight from Google. This is the kind of business and legal information that they're looking for from you, your company EIN. They're looking for your professional license. They want to make sure of your hours or the actual hours that you're available and that you're only selecting cities that are part of the program. They're also doing more of an in-depth process here because they're going to be putting their name behind your organization on their search engine. So it's their reputation on the line as well. If anyone has any questions on any of this, please don't hesitate to ask as we roll along here. Happy to address any questions that you might have. And so once you get through that sign up and verification process, here's where you end up. Now, earlier, we searched for a Los Angeles Remodeling Company, and according to the area where you're searching from, you get these Google guaranteed listings with their call hours. Assuming somebody clicks through to you, it sends a request bid message to you, kind of like an alert notification or similar to what you would do through a Home Advisor type service. They're alerting you, you've got a lead that's come in. For this particular remodeling search example, your cost of each lead is going to be around $40 to $50 per lead, depending on your market and the service offered. And so if you put this into play properly, there might be a short window of opportunity where you can really start to dominate the search results and get leads at a reasonable cost per lead, which is important to pay attention to. And so just showing our overall search example here, and you can see that it's possible to own all 4 sections of the search results on page 1 of Google. You can be in the local home services listing if you go through the advanced verification process I just talked about, and it showcases all your reviews and your 5-star rating. Then you can have Google's paid ad section or Google pay-per-click AdWords, which operates in every market. And next you have the Google Maps listing and what has become known as the 3-pack. And then of course, there are the organic listings below that. And if you play this correctly, it could be a great opportunity to really own all that real estate on the page 1 search results there, which is, of course, what every business owner would want to do in their respective markets. Again, it's about owning that real estate on page 1 and owning as much as you can. And so that's Google Home Services, kind of in a nutshell. You should definitely take a look at this opportunity if you're not already. One of the main things that Google is up to right now is that they're trying to reduce the increasing number of spam listings. And I'm sure you guys have seen all those out there. There's a report out by Google right now that they've been able to eliminate 70% of spam listings since 2015. They're on an aggressive strategy of going after companies that don't have real addresses, that are setting up fake locations just for the sake of increasing their presence on map listings. And it's interesting to note that they're not just removing these fake listings, but they're removing them completely from ever showing in maps again. For those of you that play by the rules, that have a real location, this is great news, and you can continue to win the day when it comes to owning that valuable digital real estate in the Google Maps 3-pack. And so you want to make sure to keep Google on your side. It makes it much easier to win in the online world if you're doing that. Let's talk about a couple things that might be hurting you right now as it relates to ranking on Google Maps. First, you have to have an office in the city that you're targeting to rank for on maps. I don't want to burst anyone's bubble here, but if you're trying to rank on maps and you don't have a location in that particular city, then the chances of you ranking in that 3-pack is going to be very slim. So you want to get a real physical location in the location that you serve. The other thing is, if you try to spam Google with fake listings, let's say you set up a bunch of PO boxes, for instance, or a bunch of virtual offices that Google has red flagged already, that could be impacting your results negatively. Your best bet is to get into those listings in your dashboard, mark them as closed, get them removed from Google Maps, and set up a real physical location and properly claim it, which we'll be talking about how to do that. And the other thing that could be hurting your rankings is if you have inconsistency of your name, address, and phone number, what you might have heard referenced already as NAP. What this means is that if you're listed one way on Google and then have your contact info listed in a different way on, say, Yelp or Angie's List, or in a different way on yellowpages.com, any of those different directories out there, that could be hurting your ability to rank. Google wants to see consistency of your name, address, and phone number and know that you're the same business that's referenced elsewhere. Remember, Google bots run these searches, so it needs to match exactly for them to know that you are that same business. The other thing is, did you spam your city name with your company name? If you're Ralph's Remodeling, then that's your company name. But if you went into Google My Business, your Google Business Profile listing, as it's called now, and you changed your name to Ralph's Remodeling, San Diego, California, then Google will catch on to that, or one of your competitors will, and report you. And that's that Google suggest action, where others patrolling the internet, even your competitors, can mark your listing as closed or at least suggest a name change for Google to manually review your name because they know it's not your real name. Now, that's something that we actively help our partners with because there are so many spam listings out there. Spamming your company name, there was a time where that seemed like a great move, 3 or 4 years ago, by having your city in the company name in Google Maps. It actually helped you rank higher. Today, that's really going to hurt because Google considers that a complete infraction of its Google business profile rules and best practices. So if you want to make sure that your company is showing your actual company name, that's going to benefit you in the long run. The other critical factor is whether you have enough reviews and do you have real reviews. What I should have written here probably is, have you created fake reviews for your company? Google pays a lot of attention to the reviewer's profile. And so there are certain companies that went out and created a lot of fake Google accounts, or they have family members that created fake Google accounts and just write review after review after review for them. But then these companies saw a drop in their Google search results, and that obviously impacts revenue once Google sniffs out those fake reviews or those review profiles that get one review for you, and that's it. They don't ever leave a review again. Google knows that's not a real person, a real profile, in other words. So these are 5 things that really could be impacting you over the long term, could be preventing you from ranking on Google Maps, that you really want to fix, or at least be aware of it, because you might have done it inadvertently, or possibly one of your previous marketing providers might have done something of this nature without you even realizing it. And so now we're going to dive into our proven formula for getting ranked on Google Maps. It really comes down to 4 key elements. The first is having a properly claimed and optimized Google business profile listing. That's obvious, right? The second is having a lot of citations, which are references to your company's name, in other words, as well as having your name, address, and your phone number across the entire web, with consistency of how your company is being referenced on all the various sites and directories, like Google, Facebook, Angie's List, Yellow Pages, Yelp. Those are all the types of listings that I'm referring to. And then you should have lots of reviews from your true customers in your actual service area. If you look at all other things being equal, one being that you have a real location, you have a lot of citations with consistency of your name, address, and your phone number, your NAP, in other words, he who has the most reviews tends to win when it comes to Google, with all other factors being equal. That's the key here. I believe it's going to continue to win today, well into the future, because reviews really are one of the best barometers of how good a company really is, when all you have to look at is their internet results without being able to talk to them, get to know them, that sort of thing. And this reinforces the point that you want to make sure that you have a systematic approach to getting reviews from your customers in your real service area, and doing that on a consistent basis. And we'll go into that a little bit more as well. The fourth is just making sure you have proper on-page optimization of your website, to where it's clear to Google that you're serving the exact area that you said you served inside your Google Map listing, your Google Business Profile dashboard, in other words, and the exact services that you're talking about in that service area. And so we're going to drill down into all of this. It's relatively simple, really. It's really an 80-20 principle that I like to talk about, focusing on the 20% of things that you can do that will drive 80% of the results. There are many things that you can do to contribute to your Google Maps ranking, like improving your on-page SEO for your website. All of that really goes beyond the scope of this training, though. We covered that last month. But if you get all of these 4 elements mostly right, you're going to be well ahead of a majority of your competition. Let's talk a little bit about how to claim or optimize your Google Business Profile listing if you haven't already done that. You go to google.com/business, and most of you know this already, but this is where you go, and you either sign up with your Google account or go to Manage Now in order to go through the verification process, get your new listings signed up. This process is changing all the time with different screen views and pictures, but the gist is that you always want to search for your Google Business Profile help if you need to get to the sign up page in order to get started. But in most cases, I would think that you already have a claimed Google Business Profile listing, and it's just a matter of logging in. Once you get there, you should see a screenshot that has your listing, all your contact information, and additional info. And here's where you click on info in order to update that information. You're going to want to make sure that you optimize everything in your dashboard that you can in order for better rankings in map results. So after logging in, The first thing is to make sure that you updated your company name so that it doesn't have any additional information added into your name. You also want to make sure that you have the right category selected, the primary category for your business. A lot of times, Google Maps, your Google business profile was claimed or set up maybe years ago. They don't have the right category. So it might not have any category right now, or at least not the best one for your main services for your industry. Make sure to choose all relevant categories as well for your business, the secondary categories that you can choose. There are usually several categories that relate to your business that you want to make sure that you're showing for in the Maps results. Of course, you should have your website added as well as a local phone number, not an 800 toll-free number if you can help it. Remember, Google Maps is all about local, so local numbers are going to work better than showing 800 numbers. With that phone number, this can cause issues on a lot of occasions. A lot of companies do one or two things wrong when it comes to their phone number. They'll either use an 800 toll-free number because they serve multiple area codes, multiple states maybe. And this actually makes sense for somebody that might get turned off to your company because they live in a 303 area code and they're searching from a different area code. Anecdotal evidence shows that 800 area code numbers don't rank very well on Google Maps. So it's really in your best interest to use a local area code number for your Maps listing. And then you can put that 800 toll-free number in second position on your Google Maps listing. You can have two phone numbers listed. Just make sure the local number is the first one you have listed. And next to you is your address. The main thing with your address is just to make sure that it's listed the same exact way on Google Maps as how it's listed on Yelp, on Angie's List, on Facebook and City Search, etc. And again, don't use a PO box or virtual address that Google has already added to their blacklist. They know pretty much all of those UPS stores, mailboxes, etc., Regis, Intelligent Virtual Offices, all those. Next is upload photos, and I mean lots of them, and on a consistent basis too. Consistency is the key here. Google wants to see pictures in your Google business profile, and there's all kinds of opportunities to get creative with photos. Now you can just come in your dashboard, upload your photos, and those will get added to your Google business listing. You can even add text overlays and do some really neat things with them. And all this can be done from your cell phone. Take the pictures on your cell phone when you're on a closing out a project, upload them straight away, and boom, you've got geotagged images right there from that job site going into your Google business profile within minutes of those pictures being taken. So that's pretty powerful stuff. Definitely don't be skipping on the photo aspect and uploading those on a consistent basis. And then finally, list your hours of operation. And if you truly are available to take calls 24/7, feel free to put that you're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're not, it's probably better to limit those hours so that you're not getting calls at all times of the day or night. But I will say, if you have this listed as, say, Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., if someone searches on Google at 4 p.m., they're going to potentially not be able to see you or your listing because it's going to say that it's closed. And obviously, no one's going to call a company that's listed as closed. So pay attention to this. And another idea, too, if you're a smaller company or don't have someone dedicated to answering your phone, is to use a third-party answering service. That way you can mark that you are open 24/7 and your listing will show 24/7. You don't lose those potential customers that are looking for you after hours or on the weekend, something like that. Also add all of the services that you offer as well as your service area. If you don't want your address to show, maybe you're using a home address and don't have a physical office location or a showroom, select the option to be a service area business. So when it comes to getting the most out of your Google business profile listing, you'll want to adhere to Google's best practices. One of the most important things that you can do to stay relevant in Google's eyes is to update your photos you're posting, like I just talked about. and do this on a consistent basis. You can easily do this from your mobile phone. And when you do it from your phone, from the job site, like I said, it geotags those images. And what I mean by geotagging, it's embedding that location data into your image. And so Google's seeing those images come from all over your service area, not just from your office location. This is a really, really good ninja trick. So make sure you're writing that one down. Another feature of your Google Business Profile is the ability to add social posts to your page. You don't need to post every day, but at a minimum, you should be posting each month and featuring your services and the great work you're doing. And preferably, you're posting every week. Google wants you to be social. And then also make sure that you're responding to your reviews. And that means both positive and negative reviews that you might be getting. I'm sure most people on here aren't getting negative reviews, but it happens every now and then, and you still need to respond to it. Try to take the chat offline, very brief response. You want to try to resolve things. You want to see what their concerns are, and then take the conversation offline. Make sure you do take it offline. Make sure you do follow up, that you are really serious and honest about trying to resolve this. But Google likes to see that interaction with you and your customers. And your future customers will also appreciate your responses, as well as the customers that you're responding to. It helps other potential customers see how you engage with your current customers and maintain those relationships, that you didn't just take the check and skedaddle. And then you should also make sure that you're answering any questions that are posted by potential customers. These Q&As are monitored by Google. And so in addition to supplying customers with answers to their questions, you're also showing Google the engagement that they're looking for. Again, all other things being equal, Google will show some preference to companies that get the most out of their Google Business Profile through these types of interactions and engagements. So what's really cool is once you have all this synced up and you have control of your Google Maps listing, then you can get in here and see how things look. You can make sure that you're properly verified. You can optimize your listing in all the ways I just talked about. You can make it really stand out. And then you also have access to really cool insights. You can see how many people searched for you, how many views you've shown up for, how many actions people actually took after seeing your listing. And even better is that you can sync this to your Google Analytics account that's in your Google Search Console for your website, and then also sync your YouTube channel and those metrics. So Google likes to tie all this together, and for you, it's one place that you can find all that data. Now, what we like to do is mainly look at the insights that your dashboard provides, and from there, we can drill down into the data and really see local specific analytics for your business on Google Maps. One of my favorite things to look at, it's down here in the lower right corner, is how many calls you actually are getting from your Maps listing. And that's people actually going in from the Maps search results, and while they're there, they're clicking on the click to call phone button. They're reaching out to you. So think about that for a moment. With this client here, they got 48 calls in this example in 1 month from their Google Maps listing. This is not the total number of calls from everything else that they're doing, but the number of calls directly from their map listing in just the last 30 days. So if this isn't enough of a reason for you to say, hey, I need to gain control of my Google Map listing, I don't know what would be. You really want to have access to this information. You want to be able to see what's going on, and you want to have a direct feed for your online reviews as well. You can respond to reviews right from your listing as well. So you'll get alerted. You'll be able to see the reviews. You'll be able to actually go in there, type out your response as the company owner to that review. And so that's really great practice to get into. Everyone should be doing that. I have talked to some new partners lately. They're like, oh, we get tons of reviews. And I asked them if they responded to them. They're like, oh, we're supposed to respond to those? So make sure you're doing that. Google really looks very favorably upon company owners actually responding. We also put strategies into place to help our partners build online reviews to where we set up alerts for when new reviews come in so that they can respond and thank the customer for their generous feedback of their company, things like that. So hopefully this was helpful and you got to see a little bit of a visual of what that Google business profile actually looks like from the dashboard side of it. Also why it's so powerful to have access to your Google business profile listing. That's really the first step. Claim and optimize that Google business profile listing. It's the most basic thing that you can do to contribute to your online success. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to address them. Make sure we get everyone on the right track. One question I saw was, can you manage multiple locations from the same dashboard? And yes, you can add in multiple locations, be able to manage all the different locations from one single dashboard. So you can definitely set that up. The next thing is to have lots of citations. Anyone can claim a business profile listing, and that's kind of your placeholder on Google Maps. So if you're a home improvement or remodeling company in any market, there are literally hundreds of other home improvement or remodeling companies, usually trying to compete or trying to rank against you. So having a properly claimed and optimized Google profile listing just puts you on a list of one of 100 or maybe 200 or more competitors. So just having that listing is just not going to do it. You don't just stop there. The thing that's going to move you from ranking 100 to page 1 of results, and ideally to get you in a 3-pack, should that, and which should be your goal, is your authority. Authority is driven by how many times Google sees your company's name, address, and phone number referenced all across the web, and also by how many online reviews that you have for your company. Now, those two things are the biggest authority factors that Google's looking at. They're also going to look at your website to see how authoritative your website is. So it's critical that you're listed with a lot of online directory sites, and it's critical that you're listed with consistency across those sites, that you're listed in the same way, that NAP I talked about, because Google sees you on the map, and the internet spiders that crawl the internet say, where else is Ralph's Remodeling listed? And maybe you're listed on Yelp, on Angie's, on City Search, but your phone number is different than it was on Google Maps. Well, that's kind of diluting your authority a little bit. And Google's not sure then what listing is yours and which one may be wrong, or maybe another company, maybe you have a suite number that's different. Maybe your website has changed. There's lots of little things that can change. It seems like a small thing, but for Google and again, those non-human spider bots, it becomes a very big thing when it talks about consistency with your authority. So that's why that NAP consistency is really so important. And you also want to make sure that you limit any duplicate information. If you have your company somehow accidentally listed on twice on Google Maps, and that can also dilute your authority as well as get you penalized by Google. So you want to have lots of citations with the right name, address, phone number, just like it is on Google Maps, and limit that inconsistency as well as limit that duplication of information. One of the key sticking points I see is that people say, okay, I know there's a lot of citation sites that I can go to, and a lot of them you can claim manually yourself. So they'll add themselves to the Best of the Web and all these others. They'll add themselves to Yelp, yellowpages.com, and all these others. And then they'll find something wrong on a site like Super Pages, for instance, and they'll hit edit and they'll modify that info, hit save, and they'll go back a week later and it's incorrect again. And they'll say, what's going on here? I made that change. Well, what's going on here is what they're missing, and that's the big data aggregators. You want to make sure you pay attention to the data aggregators, which are Factual, Axiom, InfoUSA, and Newstar. These are companies that hold the business information for basically the entire industry, all the industries out there. What's listed in those sites gets propagated then to other secondary and third level citation sites. If you get to a site like Manta or Hot Frog, let's just say, and you get get an update listing, and maybe you even delete a duplicate listing, but it's still listed on one of those 4 data aggregators, that data aggregator will probably wind up popping up again with the wrong information on a variety of other sites. So you want to make sure that you get your listings right, but you also pay attention to get them right on those data aggregators so they don't just keep propagating that misinformation out there. When it comes to citation management, there's an easy way and there's a hard way. The hard way is to get an entire list of citations and then get this list of websites to go to and manually create your account, manually enter all that information and have a spreadsheet where all that stuff gets listed somewhere. So that's one way to do it, and that's fine if you have the time. But there's also tools that can help you automate that process and make it a lot easier for you. Some of the tools that are really popular in the local SEO industry are Bright Local, WhiteSpark, Advice Local, and Moz Local, as well as Yext. You probably heard of a couple of these, or maybe you haven't. These are useful for different things. I will say that Bright Local and WhiteSpark are the ones that a lot of agencies are using, and those tools are great for finding inconsistency in your listings. You can put in your company's name, address, phone number, and press a button, and voila, you see if you're listing incorrectly and where, and be able to find those citation sources and be able to change those now that you know. Advice Local, Moz Local, and Yext are all integrative tools that you can update your information in one place and have it update all across the web. Moz Local is good, Advice Local is good, and then there's Yext. Yext is the most connected data provider with all the major online directories, and the benefit of Yext is that it has a direct feed into Google, into Yelp, into Bing, into I think like top 60 or so online directories. And what you can do in Yext is make any update and have it update all across the board, have that update those other directories immediately and find and suppress any of those duplicate listings. I'm not necessarily advocating for you to sign up for Yext, because as an end user, Yext is very expensive. As an agency or a company like ours, Yext is quite affordable. And the other thing with Yext too is that, if you ever quit with them, they take all your directory listings away and you got to go back and now you got to start managing them. So you got to know that Yext is basically a lifetime commitment. You're getting married to Yext. Look at it that way. So I highly recommend Moz Local or Advice Local or Yext as your primary hub for managing those online directories and citation sources, all from one central location. Now, when we run a citation analysis report, it usually looks something like this. It lets you know what listings you're on, how many are correct, also shows off all your inconsistencies that your various listings may contain. If you need help with that or just want to see where you stand in terms of your consistency and overall presence all across the web, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you with an analysis just to get that for you and at least get you pointed in the right direction. And so here are my best practices for you. These strategies are the core of how to manage your directories, which all feed into your Google business listing, which we showed you earlier at google.com/business. From there, you'll use a tool like Yext or similar I just talked about for your top 50 or 60 or so online directories. And that's almost the only way to get on Yahoo is through the Yext portal. It immediately gets you on Bing as well with the correct map information. The ability to make changes once there and hit all the directories at once, the ability to put out a special promotion that gets propagated and hits all those directories, the ability to upload a photo in one place and have it go everywhere. That's the benefit of using one of those services as your central hub. So that's the real advantage of using Yext and the ability to suppress duplicate listings. Duplicate listings can hurt you in terms of how you rank on Google Maps. With Yext, it finds the duplicate listing, suppresses it, and all of a sudden you're in a completely different place with your online authority. This is the fast track to get your online directory listings under control and to move yourself up in terms of rankings on Google Maps. From there, you'll still want to get your listings updated on the data aggregators that I talked about, the top 4 data aggregators. These are the big ones. From there, you're controlling how you're showing up all across the other various, more nebulous directories that you find out there. 3rd level, 4th level kind of directory services that you see that maybe you've not heard of and a lot of people don't use, but can still provide some lead flow for you. As long as your main listings are good and accurate and you're managing all your directories for accuracy, then that's going to get carried over to those 3rd tier, 4th tier level of directories that you've probably never heard of. And then from there, it's usually going in to generate more authority from a citation management perspective. so that you can, get a stronger position on Google Maps. A lot of cases, though, it's not enough because there are a lot of companies that are already doing this, and you need to be doing more than them. Basically, every directory your competitors are on, you need to be on that, and you got to find more directories. More is better when it comes to directories. So using a tool like BrightLocal or WhiteSpark to find new specific directories that you can add yourself to is really helpful. Again, I like to focus on the 80-20 rule in this particular aspect of Google Maps. Quantity is proven to be less important than quality when it comes to citation sources. Quality in those top 50 or so citations, that's usually enough to make you really authoritative, but then there's going to be a secondary service that you can be listed on as well, and that just gives you that extra boost to outdo your competitors. That's what they're thinking as well, so remember that. If you search for a remodeling directory, say you search for best remodeling companies in your area, you look for these other directory sites that list organizations like yours, and then you can get yourself added to that directory as well. Those are more niche relevant. They're going to be more of a home improvement site, so they're going to have more authority for your company because it's your niche, it's your industry. That's going to give you a lot more authority, and that's going to help your Google Maps rankings as well. For example, like if you're in like Tampa business directory, best businesses of Tampa, you're going to get yourself added to those directories after your primary work, and that's going to give you more authority in those other directories as well. Again, it's all about authority and Google attributing who has more authority online, who's more credible, in other words. I have a list here of the most authoritative kind of niche specific directories that you can get yourself added to. This list comes directly from BrightLocal, so it's not my specific list that we built here at Home Remodeler SEO. But there are also lead services like Networks, which is a pay-per-lead service. There's Contractors.com, BuildZoom, BuilderSect, all these other directories, CraftJack. You can get yourself listed on there as well. You don't have to be paying money and actually buying leads from them, but you can still get yourself listed and gain that authority from them. If you want to access a bigger list of ours, just go to our website, homeremodellerseo.com/citations. What I'd say is if you don't want to start here, though, you don't want to start with these secondary citation services, start with your business profile and then get those main 50 or so directories. And then you can look at these other tier 2, tier 3 directories in order to move the needle. Once you have that 80% done, then you can look at kind of completing that last lap, that last 20% or so. The third critical element for getting ranked on Google Maps is to have reviews, and most importantly, to have more reviews than the competition. Just looking at messages here, see if I had any questions or anything. But let's say we're searching for a remodeling company in Denver. You see here where the first listing has 44 reviews, the next listing has 38 reviews, and then the third listing in the 3-pack has 9 reviews. Now, it doesn't always work out this perfectly, but with all things being equal, the company with the most reviews will typically outrank the competition. Google is also looking at the most reviews, the most relevant reviews that are showing up across the web. In other words, do you have reviews on Yelp? Do you have reviews on Angie's List? Reviews on Facebook? They're looking at, do you have reviews everywhere? But from an overall standpoint, it's really a combination of your website setup and SEO, it's your citations. With all things being equal in those realms, it's your online reviews that can really help you stand out. So let's talk about some specific strategies and some specific tools to help you get more reviews and to help you kind of play this game right. The first thing is to make sure you're leveraging technology. If you're not sending a review request after every completed project via email, via text message, or leaving a printed card, you're leaving opportunity on the table. What you're asking for is feedback. You're not asking for a review. You're asking people, how was the job that you did? How was the service? How was the customer service? How was the result? Every single job has the potential for a good review for your company, and you're not going to get 100% feedback. But if you're not, asking for the review for that feedback, in other words, after every job, you're surely not getting as many as you could. It kind of goes back to that old saying, you don't get what you don't ask for. Now, you also have to train your team and your project managers to plant the seed of getting good customer feedback. In a perfect world, you'd have a process where the customer calls, schedules an estimate. This is one of the biggest hurdles that companies have. They can't get the cell phone number, they can't get the email. These are the best ways to follow up with satisfied customers. If you can capture that contact info at the point of estimate being scheduled, then the resistance becomes practically non-existent. That's where you'll get the information so that when the estimator or project manager does go out there, they create a great world-class experience for the customer. They show up on time, they roll out the red carpet with cordiality and a smile. He puts on his booties to protect the home, engages with the customer. And so all of that is in place already. And I know most of you folks are already doing all those things. You create this great customer experience. And then the estimator or project manager, or maybe you as the owner, you're planting the seeds for getting that feedback after the job so that you know how you're doing. Again, you're not just asking for a review. You really want to know how you're doing, get that feedback, not just saying, hey, thanks for your business, thanks for your payment, and then out the door you go. Instead, you're in that appointment with, I really appreciate the opportunity to serve you today. Our company thrives on positive feedback. And as a matter of fact, maybe, my position and my performance is graded on the feedback I get personally from customers like you. So, you're going to be getting an email a little bit later today asking if you can take a minute to share some feedback with our company. If you would do that for me, that would really help. It's that kind of conversation that you want to be having. You see that a lot in, say, the automotive industry, the hospitality industry. Instant, email, can you leave us feedback or leave us a survey form and fill out our survey kind of thing. You just don't see it as much in home services. So this is where you can really kind of move the needle if you really take that approach of really wanting to gain more feedback for your company so that you can just become better. You want to train your crews to be more aggressive in planting that seed and let them know that you're going to be asking for feedback. There'll be office staff following up for that. What we found the best tools in the world will get you only so far. You can automate the review feedback requests till you're blue in the face, but in some cases it's not really enough. People are lazy, and if they have the opportunity, maybe they'll do it. Or they'll say, "Yeah, I'll fill out that survey later. Give you some feedback later." But you really need to be following up and really encouraging them. It takes more than one ask. You really need to kind of push that in order to get more from that. It's that public recognition that your companies are really going to benefit from. You want to help your clients, your customers create that culture to get that feedback. And then within your own company, you can set little, incentive to where if your name is mentioned in feedback or in a survey, maybe that employee gets a $25 gift card or a new tool to add to their toolbox, something like that. So you kind of really create that culture in your company that that your company wants more feedback to really know how you're doing, instead of someone just saying, "Yeah, you guys did a great job. Love my new kitchen. Thank you so much." That's nice, but we really want to kind of take that to the next level and really learning how well your company is doing in so many different facets. There's some great tools out there to help with feedback request automation. We have our own tool that we've built for feedback automation, as well as strategies that we've developed for asking for feedback and emails, text alerts, printed cards, things like that. But the other review services that I've seen that are the most popular, again, we're not using any of these, but I want to mention them to you because they are the most popular. Nearby Now, that's a tool that can create unique geo-modified content, geo-tagged content for your different city pages. I've mentioned this previously in our SEO webinar workshops, but it can also automate the feedback request process that goes out after every completed project. And they've got some unique tools that they've added recently that can intelligently determine, is this a Google user? Send them to their Google Mail. Is this an Angie's List user? Send the survey request to the Angie's List user. That kind of thing that kind of strategically gets you more feedback on the sites that those customers actually came from. Review Buzz is another good tool. I've heard a lot of people using this one. Best thing about Review Buzz is it focuses on the customer choosing to write it, feedback for your company, not for your company so much, but for the actual project manager or person that you dealt with and really worked with. So it's built around the whole concept of getting feedback, not just for your company, but really being able to call out different individuals in your company who are really doing exemplary work. And that I think really kind of helps Review Buzz shine in that regard. Bird Eye is another tool, as well as Customer Lobby. So these are just some of the automation tools that are out there. Again, we don't use these, but they are very popular, especially in the HVAC industry, plumbing. We see these used quite a bit. In my mind, it's really less about the tools and more about making sure that you have something you're using consistently and that's built into your company, into your culture. So, explore some of those tools if you want. I hope that helps give you some idea on tools that you can tap into in order to more automate that process. And the last piece of the puzzle, and this is really relatively quicker, I'm going to point out, is simple to make sure that your on-page optimization tells Google that your name, address, and phone number that you have on your website, typically in the footer, is the same info that's on Google Maps. That's the simplest thing you can be doing. You want to make sure that you have a footer on your website that has your company name, address, phone number listed the same exact way, and you want to have a hyperlink back to your Google Map listing URL. This process works really well because you're essentially, ranking it for your website and for your Google Map listing. You're making it easy for Google Maps to kind of see those correlations about your company, your website, your overall online presence. Say Google's able to pull all this together based on that interlinking strategy. Google wants to make sure all that information is correct. They want to make sure that the spider bots they're sending to your website are verifying all that information. And usually doing this in the footer is best because then it's going to be on every page of your website. So that's one of the things that we do. It's kind of completes that circle of that interlinking strategy that I've been telling you about, and that's going to help you rank for maps in your area. Search engine optimization is a big driving factor in your online success. So I want to go just a touch deeper here on this subject. Obviously, there are many things that you can do from an SEO perspective in order to optimize your website further. But that's a topic for another training session, specifically on SEO and website optimization. Hopefully you caught last month's workshop replay on SEO. If not, you can go back and watch that replay or ping me in chat or send me an email. If I didn't get your chat message, just send me an email and I can send you that replay to that SEO training. But you definitely want to have different pages for each of the services that you offer. In other words, a page for kitchen remodeling, a page for bathroom remodeling, basement remodeling, home edition, so on and so on. It's hard to rank for a service if you don't even have a page talking about that service. Kind of intuitive, right? Make sure you're mentioning your keywords in the cities you serve in your heading tags and also within the page content. Google needs to learn the cities that you served. I'm shocked by people that tell me that they don't want to mention the services or cities they serve in their content. They want their content to be really clean and talk about, reimagining spaces and this and that. And it's just hard for me to wrap my head around that strategy producing success online, because basically you're not telling Google what your services are or what cities you serve. That's the kind of the core foundation of search engine optimization, letting Google know your services and your service area. That's the basics. That's SEO 101 kind of thing. So having a service area page is also a good idea with links to nearby cities and content focused on those cities. This helps Google build an area of service for your company, kind of like a sphere of influence. We talked about making sure your NAP is in the footer and ideally link it to your Google Maps listing or having a Google Map embed on your Maps listing. And then lastly, make sure you have local schema code on your website. This is something you can do it by adding it manually, or you can use a plugin on WordPress if you have a WordPress site. or having your website developer do it for you. But it's definitely critical to have this coded information embedded into your website. All in all, this is kind of the formula that you can either choose to execute this on your own, or you can choose to have a marketing provider do it. Reach out to us. With our team, we have some other nifty tricks we're using for GM posts and interlinking them, and the maps linking, kind of things that we talked about for your website. You can do the same things by interlinking with your various GMB posts, posting them together, interlinking with your blog post, interlinking with press releases that you're putting out there. There are a lot of things that you can be doing, but it really boils down to trying to do as many as you can, the really important thkind of be doing more than really what your competitors are doing. So at this point, I kind of want to bring our conversation full circle here and wrap up. We first talked about how to claim and optimize your Google business profile listing. As I mentioned, there are very specific things that you can do to optimize that listing, and also to make sure you're not breaking any rules, and that you're putting your best foot forward and doing all the things that Google likes to see your business listings online doing. You want to make sure that you have that consistent name, address, phone number with all those citation and directories that we talked about. Reference that you're going to be having all across the internet. You really need to have those out there. And we talked about some specific tools to automate that process, to help you scale that process, and to make sure you've gotten this right all across the internet. We also talked about reviews, and how reviews really help give you the confidence that you are the authority in your industry and in the markets that you serve. Basically, Google is seeing that you have tons of citation all across the internet. You have tons of great feedback from your real customers in your real service area. I talked about some great automation tools for making that process as simple as possible. And we also talked about how to optimize the on-page factors for your website, your SEO, in other words, which deserves a much deeper dive than what I was able to give it today. But this is what we do. This is our specialty. We work exclusively with home improvement and remodeling companies all across the country, and essentially have our processes dialed in as tight as we can. If you want us to do an SEO and maps analysis for your company, we're happy to do that for you free of charge. It's really kind of a great baseline report to be able to determine the areas that you need to work on, see where you're ranking, an analysis of your directories and reviews, etc. Just go to homeremodellerseo.com/discovery-call. Book a quick call with me in order to let me know, what you're trying to focus on, so I can learn more about your goals. And then I'll have my team get started on a full analysis for you. Again, no cost to this. I just want to make sure that we get you pointed in the right direction for improving your online presence, helping you achieve greater growth and revenue for your business. Go to that link there if you want want us to take a look at that. You can put it in chat. If you would like to talk to us, about improving your overall rankings, about how we can help you maximize your lead flow online, then I encourage you to call us at 855-235-9140. We'll start by doing a complete review of your current rankings. We'll look at your Google Maps listings. We'll help you find the inconsistencies that may be present. We'll look at your online reputation, and kind of tell where you might find improvement here and there. And we can also do a review of your website, kind of look at what might be going on there from the front end aesthetically, and also from the back end of things. Our goal is to come to the table with ways in which we can help you improve online, improve that digital presence, and really how to maximize the lead flow that you're getting online. With that, I want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for your feedback and questions. If you didn't get your questions answered, if you're still unsure of your strategy to rank on Google Maps, or would just like to talk to us about doing it for you and let you focus on growing your business, then reach out by going to the website. Give us a call, fill out the contact form, and we'll definitely be in touch and follow up and kind of learn more about what your goals are. We'd love to talk to you about the possibility of working together. We've created success for so many other remodeling and design build companies, builders, other home improvement companies, roofers all across the country. So we'd love to help you if we can. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys have gotten a lot of great value out of this training. I hope I've been able to answer most people's questions. If not, follow up with me. But I'll look forward to talking with you soon and seeing you on the next webinar workshop that we'll be doing next month. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.